Yeah, I kind of want to go through this story. China, Hong Kong threatened to thwart sale of Panama Canal, ports to America's BlackRock. Very, very weird, interesting thing happened here when you look at this. Okay, very interesting thing happened here. China and Hong Kong pushed back against a $23 billion deal where BlackRock, a U.S. investment giant, would buy a Panama Canal ports, Cristobal and Balboa. One is at the North Atlantic and the other one is at the South Pacific, from C.K. Hutchinson owner, Hong Kong billionaire Li Ka-shing, with Hong Kong leader John Lee saying it deserves serious attention. President Donald Trump praises it as the U.S. reclaiming the canal, but Beijing probes into antitrust and national security concerns that could derail it. As expert Gordon Chang warns, if Beijing stops this deal, that's a direct challenge to the President of the United States on an issue that he really cares about. The canal handles 5% of global trade. The deal, which includes 43 ports from 23 different countries, aimed to counter Trump's claim that China used the canal to rip off U.S. ships and fees. But Lee jabbed at Trump, saying, we oppose the abusive use of coercion of bullion tactics in international economic and trade relations. Tom, your thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, what's really interesting is if you know anything about Hong Kong billionaire Li Ka-shing, he's known as Li Cash-in, right? Because of the deals that he's done.
I can see where they get that nickname.
And he did tremendous deals starting in the early 90s with cellular phones and everything. And it was Hutchinson Whampoa, which is now his derivative, C.K. Hutchinson. So this guy's like a major player. He's not a casual player. But he's always been a Hong Kong guy, not a China guy. He's always been a Hong Kong guy. And then he's got his son, who's usually has kind of screwed things up. Well, what's interesting here is BlackRock comes to him and says, hey, we'll buy these two things for, $23 billion. We'll buy these two ports. So that would be like you saying, I'm going to buy the Cypress Creek on-ramp to I-95, and I'm going to buy the Sunrise on-ramp to 95. So if you want to go on I-95 between those, you got to use those on-ramps. So it's a smart move by Trump. Trump asked him to do it. Trump said, hey, could you go buy these and then you'll own it and you'll make a lot of money? Because what has China been doing? They've been building these oversized bridges and they've been also building infrastructure down there because they want to screw with the West and control of the Panama Canal. And Trump's like, I got an idea. You buy the two on-ramps on either end from Li Ka-shing. You do that. And that way we'll have kind of a stalemate with China trying to put its influence on the Panama Canal. And who's the first person to speak up? Beijing, hang on a minute. I think this deserves serious attention, whatever that is in Chinese, right? And then says, we think there could be antitrust and national security concerns. And we're like, we agree. Yours, not mine, yours. Yeah. And so I think this is a good deal for the U.S. to neutralize what China's been doing with the Panama Canal. And if you don't know how important it is, you should watch some of the stuff that we've done and that this man has done, because we've talked about how big and important this port is.
Yeah, I mean, this is 43 ports that they bought. In the canal right now, there's 5 ports, okay? China owned 2 of them. We owned a very small port that's, they call now facility. Singapore owned a small facility, and I think Thailand owned a small facility. Now we bought 2 of them. One is here Atlantic, the other one is here Pacific. Very, very important that is now taking place. But there's a couple things that the history with this is unique. This guy, C.K. Hutchinson, the founder, the owner of it, back in the 90s, he had a real estate deal that he did that Xi prevented from happening. So the two have history for many, many years of this taking place. Many, many years of this taking place. And, while this is going back and forth, he does real estate sell-off in 2020, 2021, way before, and Xi did not like that. So now he's selling this, and the deal happened very quickly. By the way, on the back end, think about it on the back end. BlackRock. What happened to BlackRock last 4 years? Positive or negative?
Negative.
Okay, DEI. You got the net
ESG,
zero deal.
Yep.
You had ESG. So watch this. Whoever did this deal, brilliant. In January, if you can go, Rob, and you look at the net, what was it called? Type in not net zero. What's the, type in zero BlackRock climate change. Type in zero BlackRock climate change. It should be January.
Zero emissions?
Net zero statement right there. Net zero. Go to, if you can go to zero, if you go to net zero, go back a little bit, Rob, to see under the news. Go to news. If you can go to news right there. Zoom in a little bit, look at the dates. BlackRock quits climate group as Wall Street lowers environmental profile. Do you know how big of a deal that was? This was the $60 trillion deal that BlackRock was like, we're going to go fix climate change, and you better be a part of it, and you better have a high ESG score or else. Remember this whole thing that we were talking about? Yeah. Boom. BlackRock says we're out. Then in February, what do you think they do? In February, I think it's 24th, they say we're out of DEI.
Oh, weird.
When do you think the deal happens? First week of March.
Wow.
Okay.
So whether this was, and by the way, you know who coached them through the process of this deal getting done with Panama Canal? Scott Bessent, Marco Rubio, President Trump, and others coached them through the process of doing this. And you know how quickly this sale happened? Like this, very quickly. And President Trump's been complimentary of BlackRock. I think founder Larry Fink in 2017 saying he made him some money in the past before. Here's the question and a concern. The main question we have to ask is the following. It's two questions, and see how you feel about this. Do you feel more comfortable BlackRock owning the Panama Canal? Do you know what type of leverage that is? Let me tell you. If people were worried about tariffs, if we, U.S., BlackRock, owns the canal against them, China, they came up with something written by the BBC that said, any company that's based out of China, at any point we can seize that company and control the decisions. You know what it means? If China wants to say C.K. Hutchison from China, U.S. is not playing ball with us with tariffs, guess what we're doing? We're stopping anything to go through Panama Canal. China could do that. With a law that they passed in 2020, Rob, I think if you can have Brandon send it to you, something that they did in 2020, 2021 when they wrote about it. So the question becomes, are you more comfortable with these two ports being owned by China, C.K. Hutchison, or BlackRock? That's the question. Andrew, what do you think?
I feel like once an American company gets big enough, they just become an arm of the State Department. Not an arm, but like the decisions that they make at the highest level will be to the benefit of what the State Department believes is for America. Let's hope. Sometimes these companies make a lot of money and it doesn't really help American citizens, and we have a lot of resentment for that. But like Google works for America, right? Facebook works for America. And I wonder if BlackRock works for America, and that's Trump essentially going, yo, go buy that. We're going to tell you what to do with it, right? And we're going to administer whatever, geopolitical leverage that we need to administer through you, but we'll let you reap the benefits from it. The annoying thing about that is that I don't know if the American people are going to get the advantages of the American military, which is backing BlackRock owning this like very prestigious piece of like geopolitical leverage. Like if it's a profitable endeavor, I want that to trickle back to the American people, not Larry Fink. So, and it's not like we can't just go buy it. Why don't we just go buy it? I wonder if when we buy it, then it's an international flare-up. So we almost have to do it through like Shell Corporation, which is BlackRock. If we do it, China goes, this is war. If BlackRock does it, we just go, hey, that's BlackRock. This is the biggest fund manager in the world. We got nothing to do with that. But then Trump calls Larry and goes, Larry, this is what I need you to do. And then he better do it.
Yeah.
But it's a shame. I want the American people to win.
Tom, what do you think?
Well, I see the logic in that, but there's also something else. When the states, because the U.S. states cannot run a deficit. It's law. At the end of a year, if a U.S. state has a deficit, it's got to go to the federal government, it's got to go to bonds, it's got to figure it out. It's got to balance the books. It's law. If only the U.S. government was like that. Well,
interesting point.
Guess what? The things that states have trouble building is infrastructure. The things that states have trouble handling is widespread natural disasters. So when it came time for prisons and infrastructures, you take a look at the amount of private prisons in the United States. Do you know Montana has no prisons built by the people's money? They're all built privately. Andrew, build me a prison. I'll send you guys to keep track of, and I'll pay you to keep track of those guys. But I don't want to build the prison, but we'll give you the 30, 40 grand a year so that you can operate it. I think this is no different. It's like, we're trying to save money, not spend money. Tell you what, you buy it for $23 billion. That serves our interests. But if anything happens or goes wrong, you know the U.S. Navy is going to be there. We got your back. And I think it's that simple. And by the way, Li Ka-shing is 96 years old. So if you want to
Get in there.
talk about auto pen and see if he did it or his son did it, this is the time to do it.
Yeah.
I got to pee real quick.
Yeah,
You guys keep going.
Go ahead, you go pee. Yeah. By the way,
Don't get harassed
By
because
the
there's a
way,
bunch
Tom-
of girls out there.
Tom, out of fun facts, you know their EBITDA was 1.7 billion, and BlackRock bought it for 13x EBITDA, and they said usually these ports, the comps are 16x EBITDA. So some say he was supposed to pay $5 billion more, but then Morningstar analyst said this was only a $10 billion deal, and they paid $13 billion more. Now we know which way Morningstar leans and what they're going to be saying. So who knows what the story's being told here? But I'm actually curious to know what's going to happen. This is one of the things I'm very excited about. So, you know why? Because 70% of the traffic at the Panama Canal is U.S. 70%. 70% is us.
Holy cow.
So guess what? If and just cross your fingers that this gets picked up in U.S. Because the only concern I have with BlackRock owning it is this. I don't have a problem BlackRock owning it now with Trump being the president. I have very big concerns on who runs BlackRock next and who is president next. Because if a China, you know how you play Monopoly? What are the two pieces you don't want to lose? If you could say two pieces. Boardwalk and what?
Park Place.
Okay. Let's just say those two pieces right before you get what? Cash, you pass go, you get $200? Okay. Imagine somebody just gives that up to somebody else. You're like, dude, why'd you just sell that to? You're not supposed to sell Boardwalk and Park Place. Yeah. China, if this deal goes through, lost Boardwalk and Park Place.
Oh, please.
You know how long this guy's owned it, C.K. Hutchison? Almost 25 years, give or take. Because if we buy this piece and keep it, China will do everything it can to make sure this deal doesn't go through, and even more to make sure they buy it back from the next person that becomes president. You're going to see this is not over with. Those are because the level of leverage. So now imagine Trump was to go and say, I'm going to put tariffs on you, China. Oh, yeah, I'm going to put tariffs on you. No problem. The port's closed for you.
Oh, wow. Leverage.
At the highest level. Because if you don't go, the difference is 5,000 additional miles, give or take.
Forget it.
And the amount of time that it takes to go through.
Forget it.
Yeah, so this is a very, very big deal. If they get it done, who the hell even thought about this before they talked about it?
Nobody. Panama Canal,
but the people that brought this to Trump, or if this was Trump's idea on his own, this is massive. Tom.
Oh, absolutely. And I think there's something else here that we have to remember. During the height of inflation, there was a secondary inflation effect that was in Europe. And you know what it was called?
What?
It was called Yemeni guys in rubber boats that were interfering with all the boats. International trade getting to the Suez Canal. And they start down there at the Horn, right at Yemen. So you had the Houthis, you had the Yemen pirates, you had all this stuff. And you have, there was a very average Tom Hanks movie way back when that talked about, piracy.
I'm the captain now, Tom.
That's what was going on down there. And that was impacting inflation on food coming into Europe.
Yeah.
And it had a dramatic impact on inflation until the U.S. Navy said, all right, the hell with it. We got all these extra torpedoes. Let's play fun, shoot to kill, right? And all of a sudden, the pirates kind of stayed home.
Like I said, this is two of the most, like if right now we had an unlimited amount of supply of companies to buy, there's three pieces that we'd love to buy, okay? 3 assets that we would love to buy. Very important to buy these 3 assets, right? This is privately, you and I talk about this regularly.
Sure.
This is a top 3 of the fact that if they get this deal done, China's going to do everything in their power to prevent this from happening.
And were they on the deal? Were they on the deal?
It's not done yet. It's not done yet.
So how long you think, as people that know about this type of stuff, how long would that take? And what can China do to what? Give more money?
What happened to Jack Ma? When's the last time you heard about Jack Ma?
Disappeared.
I can't hear Andrew. What's the last thing happened to Jack Ma? He's red. Can you turn him on?
He became magically invisible for about 2 years, allegedly in Singapore, allegedly in Tokyo,
what
and
happened
didn't
to
say
Jack
a word.
Ma could happen to this guy here. The future looks bright. spring collection is officially here. I don't know if you've noticed. The White House tweeted future looks bright this week.
Yep.
Everybody's tweeting. Ripple tweeted future looks bright. Wow. This new gear is the puff print, which, by the way, this right here, this will not last. This hat, future looks bright, will not last. You see the logo that pops. If you see the future looks bright,
matches the
lettering
outfit.
that pops.
I like it.
Okay, we got this for Adam. We got this for some folks that if you want to wear the spring collection, we have this here.
Perfect.
We have another color here again for spring collection, the brown one.
Buy
and then
two
we got
and do a
these
gender reveal.
Visors. Well, by the way, guys, these shirts, I dare you to order one, wear it out, okay?
That's
if
sick.
you don't get a compliment on it, message me. We'll give you 2 of these for free.
Is that the deal? No compliment.
Well, he's going to do it here.
You get
Look
no
at this.
compliment.
You don't get a compliment. We'll give you 2 more of those shirts that nobody likes.
Future looks bright. Look at this here. By the way, feel the material. How this
Feels good.
This
It
is
feels
called
really
the
good.
puff print. Feel
Yeah,
it. Feel
that's
the
wow.
material.
We'll make you a good deal. If
It's
nobody
sick.
like your shirt, you
Anyways,
get 2 more.
Spring collection,
Be
go
like
out there
Don
and do
Lemon.
it.
Feel the nipples.
Anybody that places an order, we're putting in one of these new custom VT mugs that are here that has been made for anybody that places an order. We're going to send you one mug as well. Spring collection, place your order before these things sell out. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.